Can you see this morning? Are you somewhere you can see? Can everybody see this morning? Have you ever been somewhere you cannot see? Several years back, Dean and I took a trip to New York City. We went right after she had finished 6 months of chemotherapy for colon cancer. It was a celebration trip. Part of what we did while there was to go to some Broadway shows. And more than any other show, I wanted to see Phantom of the Opera. So we bit the bullet and we paid full price for 2 tickets, the best we could afford. But when we got to the theater, it was a little disappointing. Our seats were on the floor level, in the back, under the balcony, behind a pop. There were times we could not see the action on stage, and it was discouraging. Can you see this morning? As someone who has had vision issues since childhood, I've worn glasses or contact lenses. I am sensitive to that question. Also, an eye condition called macular degeneration runs in my family. My grandmother had it. Both of my parents have it. My sister, 4 years older than I, already has it. And I'd say there's a strong chance one day I will have it. The worst part of it is when you get to the point you cannot see well enough to drive a vehicle. I was at the DMV this past week with Sam, and there was a lady there probably in her late 60s, and she was taking the eye exam for the renewal of her license, and she put her head in that machine, and the worker behind the counter said, "Okay, read line 1," and she started A, she paused, E, P, Z, and the worker said, no, you got the A right, but not the others, try it again, and she said, A, F, B. Well, the A and the F are right, but take a look at it again. And she tried it again, and still not enough, and again, and again, and again. And the worker, bless her heart, just kept coaching her until she got it. And it reminded me of my grandmother with macular degeneration who went to the DMV in my little hometown in Indiana at age 90 to renew her license, and we all thought, well, this will solve the issue. She won't be able to pass the eye test. And her story was the attendant giving the test, she'd known her for years, and she said to her, "Okay, Mrs. Rainey, I'll help you." And she came home with her license. Fortunately, for the safety of herself and everyone on the road, she realized soon thereafter she needed to stop driving. Not being able to see can be devastating. Physical loss of vision can be a profound disability. But physical vision is not the only way we see. Not being able to see the letters on the eye chart can be life-changing without doubt, but not being able to see other things can even be more life-limiting, life-destroying. The question I really want to ask you this morning is this: can you see tomorrow? That question has been rolling around in my head for several days. You know, it's Easter Sunday, and while I want to bring you a good message every single week, I think I'm like most preachers. I feel like on Easter Day I really need to hit it out of the park, okay? So I went through my files to see if I thought I had anything I'd said previously on an Easter I could use this Easter, and nothing seemed to fit. And that question just kept hanging around, sort of like a pest. Can you see tomorrow? Can you see tomorrow? I had nothing else but the question when I finished the bulletin on Thursday, so I put it in there. Wasn't sure what to do with it until I realized that I first needed to ask the question of myself. Can I see tomorrow? Who will show me tomorrow? Is that not my job as a minister of the gospel to offer a vision of tomorrow in places where there is no vision? But who will show me tomorrow? is the vision for tomorrow to be found? Is it to be found at the T. Rowe Price or Edward Jones office? Do you know those guys? As I have now passed the point in my career when I have more years behind me than years ahead of me before retirement, I found myself listening a little closer to those ads that show people in their 60s riding a sailboat or laying out on a beach somewhere, and the voiceover says, "Are you ready to keep your lifestyle in retirement?" Well, that's never been my lifestyle to begin with. Let us help you set aside something for tomorrow. Is that what Seeing Tomorrow's about? Maybe, I don't know, maybe. As important as financial planning might be, the ads don't show what can happen, though. If that is your tomorrow, if that's what your tomorrow is all about, what happens if the stock market crashes, or the economy collapses, or some unforeseen emergency means cashing in what was being saved for tomorrow? Or what if you never had the means in the first place before retirement, or maybe you've never even had a job from which to retire? Where then is the vision for tomorrow to be found? Is a vision for tomorrow only for those with a secure 401k or other ways of keeping lots of money in the bank? Do you have to be in a certain social or economic class before being able to see tomorrow? Is that the only way to see tomorrow? If that's the case, why is it that sometimes we read about folks who have all those things? Retirement, investments, lots of money, but they still cannot see tomorrow. What does it mean when those with means decide there is no more tomorrow? Maybe one of the reasons this question has been circulating in my head is that I am like many of you. I am so weary and burdened that the news every week, the news right here in our own community is story after story of folks whose lives have been snuffed out in senseless violence. Drive-by shootings, shootings at clubs, rival gang shootings, lives lost by drug overdoses on substances that we all know, if you put them in your body, one day they're going to take you out. Amen. I bet if I asked you, 90% or more of us in this room know somebody for whom that or someone they love has been the subject of those very stories. What concerns me is that we're getting used to the stories, aren't we? They don't shock us anymore. We're not outraged. We need to be. So our jails fill up to overflowing. And from there, our prisons become a revolving door. And we see instance after instance of lives in ruin. Why? What in the world for? What's the reason? And so many of these are persons in their late teens or 20s. Whole lives ahead of them. And the question is before us. Can they see tomorrow? When life, including your own life, means so little to you, I wonder what has happened to the vision of tomorrow. Who will give us a vision of tomorrow? You see, the world's more than ready to offer us things which will block the vision of tomorrow, things that will give us a false sense of tomorrow. Oh, do what feels good right now. Take what instantly erases the pain. Follow whoever promises the easy way out. These are the messages of the world, which are based on the premise, there is no tomorrow. But do those messages work? In the end, do they offer us life and health and peace? Who can help us see tomorrow? You know, we never know who may bring us the vision of tomorrow. The vision came to me this week through a visitor to my office. His story, not unlike ones I've heard before, recently released from incarceration, His life was caught up in the clutches of addiction, and he found himself committing crimes which landed him in prison for 32 years. Now, most folks who've experienced prison say about the place, there's not much tomorrow there. Every day pretty much the same as the day before. It is not a place of hope. But for this gentleman, he said that all changed one day when a fellow inmate encouraged him to join a Kairos ministry weekend. He said with much reluctance, he said, I was just not into this God stuff. With much reluctance, he attended. Now, for those of you who don't know, Kairos is a ministry which our United Methodist churches in South Carolina support. Over a weekend, a group of volunteers, Christians from local churches, go into a prison, and they have worship and they have Bible study with inmates who sign up. Now, the carrot for the inmate to attend is cookies. Everyone who attends gets a bag of cookies, many of them homemade cookies. The letter, and they get a bag of cookies and a letter written by people in our churches, sometimes children. The letters say things like, you are a child of God, you are special. God loves you, and I love you. This gentleman said, never expecting it, his heart was changed that weekend by the cookies and the letter from an 8-year-old who said God loves you. And by the love he experienced in a group of people who said they were representing a man named Jesus. He said from that day forward, prison was different. He was able to see tomorrow. I don't know how that happens. It's just cookies and a letter. But a guy stuck in prison suddenly sees tomorrow. Can you see tomorrow? Do you know what tomorrow looks like? If you are not where you want to be today, and yet you cannot see anything beyond today, listen one more time to what you hear in this story read for us today, a story known around the world as Easter. The people who had traveled with Jesus had been so inspired by his teaching and his miracles and his message of forgiveness and love that they were beginning to believe there was a tomorrow. But for most of them, that all came to an end when the sun grew dark on that Friday afternoon as the one in whom their hope had been invested suffered a terrible, unjust death on the cruelest form of capital punishment ever devised, hanging upon a cross. A slow and painful and humiliating death. For his followers, any sense of tomorrow was gone in a flash. Tomorrow was dead. All that was left to do was to carry out the deeds of compassion after death, attend to his body. That was the task of the women who went to the tomb that early morning before dawn. But when they got there, something had happened, something completely unexpected. The stone sealing the grave was rolled aside, and the tomb in which Jesus' body had been placed was empty. There was nothing there but the grave clothes. And the women and some of the other disciples of Jesus came who had come looking for death, which is the end of all of our tomorrows. When they got there, instead they have an experience and they see for themselves Jesus alive, resurrected from the dead. It was more than their minds could process or their hearts could contain, but the testimony of Mary Magdalene says it all. I have seen the Lord. Amen. And Mary and the others began to see tomorrow. The light of hope became that morning an eternal flame to be shared and never extinguished. Now there's danger around how we tell this message of Easter. If we make like it's just another happily ever after fairy tale, it won't stick. Life's too real. So I'm here to tell you this morning, Easter does not mean that life today will not ever be a struggle, or that everything the next day is suddenly going to be perfect, or that if you just give your heart to Jesus, it'll all be easy street from there out. That is not the story of Easter. In fact, one of my favorite preachers, Fred Craddock, captures the essence of Easter in a story about a friend of his who was a nurse in a tuberculosis hospital. He said, she resigned the other day. She has fellows in that hospital with one lung, half of one lung or less, little bitty guys lying up in bed. At night, sometimes with nothing but pajamas and robes on, those guys tie sheets together and they sneak out through a window, a door, or any way they can go, and they go to a liquor store, and they get all liquored up, and they come back in the chill of the night wheezing and coughing. And so the nurse, she gets the oxygen, and she nurses them, and she goes over another 8-hour shift. He said she's a beautiful woman, but her legs have those big knotted veins from standing 16 hours at a time to bring this little frail fella back to breathing again. Finally, it clears up, and he's breathing again, and she takes away the oxygen, and he ties the sheets together, and he goes out the window to the liquor store. And she quits. Why should I care? He doesn't care. Let him die. And the next morning, she goes back to work at the tuberculosis hospital. That's Easter. During World War II, not too many of us left to remember this. But at one point, Great Britain was only days away from falling to the Nazis. And if Great Britain had fallen, likely the outcome of the war would have been far different. It is told that the leader of Great Britain, Winston Churchill, was invited to speak to a boys' school in England during the most difficult days of the war. And when he got there, and he arose to give his speech, he simply said these words: never give up. Never give up. Never, never, never. And he sat down. End of speech. When it was reported in the newspapers, that saying became the mantra, the hymn for the British people during the darkest days of the war. Never give up. Never give up. Never, never, never. That's Easter. A vision of tomorrow. Hope for the ages. Can you see tomorrow? Most days I can't. And you, all of you, are in my tomorrow. This church that's here today is all of our tomorrow. And on you, I promise you this. On you, we will never, never, never give up. Deal?